Hickok 45 here, your internet shooting companion, coming to you from the beautiful hills of Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, the home of all kinds of people. Elvis Presley, Alvin York, Dolly Parton, we could name a bunch of them. Weren't necessarily born in Tennessee, but we kind of claim them if they moved here. And if whatever they're famous for, especially, sort of happened when they live here, you know, like Elvis, he's from Tupelo, Mississippi, I think, but he's from here. You know, there's a lot of people like that. For some reason, a lot of people come to Tennessee. Pretty good place to be, really, by and large. Every place has its negatives. Every place has its positives, but we've probably got more positives than negatives in Tennessee. You never know how that's going to change, though, really, with today's government. And with all the busybodies wanting to change things, control things. Nothing wrong with change sometimes. We need change sometimes, but oh man, it just seems like most of it is not for the better, is it? In terms of when people get together and get upset about something being the way it is, and you know, like Firearms, of course, which is near and dear to all of our hearts. Just seems like it's just too easy to look at things and say, you know, that could be better. If these things didn't exist, you know, nobody would ever get hurt if there were no firearms. So anyway, that's what we all deal with, don't we? But anyway, it's good to see you. I guess the last Shooting the Breeze or the last few vlogs, we've been a little bit heavy maybe on stuff. Try to keep it a little bit lighter, perhaps. Just got back from the Waffle House. Speaking of that, right? Yeah, gosh, man. Amazing, isn't it? It doesn't matter where you are. And of course, some of you may not even know what I'm referring to, but the big murder spree we had here in Tennessee, not too far from where I'm standing. I mean, I'm not like really close, but I could be there in 35, 40 minutes. You know, it could be anywhere, and all of a sudden, somebody's, you know, trying to kill you with a car, like in Canada yesterday, I guess it was, or day before. Or, you know, comes in to shoot up the place or shoot you because the guy's estranged wife is working there or something. Not to be negative, because it doesn't happen. You know, the odds of it are slim, you know, as you go about your daily business. Really slim, probably about as slim as an airplane crash or something, you know, maybe a little more, I don't know. You statisticians can figure that one out, but nothing you can lose sleep over. But it's one reason that many of us carry, you know, speaking of that, better to be safe than sorry. It's not a problem to have it. It's just like a wallet, isn't it? For that's the thing anti-gunners can't, here I'm getting right into stuff. Anti-gunners don't really get that, do they? Most of them, 99% I guess, they see a firearm, I've talked about this before, they see it as kind of a rattlesnake. Wow. You got a rattlesnake on your hip or in your pocket or in your shoulder holster. That thing could bite you at any time. It could drop out on the floor and kill innocent people. It could go off on its own. You know, they don't really understand a firearm. You know, it's like, what is it like? It's like my wallet or my car keys. You know, they're not going to start my car unless I tell them to, control them. My pocket knife is not going to hurt anybody. It's not going to cut me or anybody unless I'm a little careless with it. You know, it's just a different world that most of us live in if you're watching this. And I know I have lived in a rural area most of my life. I've worked in the city most of my life. I've traveled. I've been all over this country, and I've been to, you know, I've worked and when I was traveling for my job in the 80s, I was in New York and Chicago and LA and San Francisco and a lot of different cities, quite frequently, or Miami. So I've had this weird life, I guess, experience in that most of my downtime, though, I'm in this kind of environment, day in and day out for the most part, especially now. But anyway, I understand the rural lifestyle or even the urban lifestyle. You know, there's not that much difference in terms of just being protective of yourself, being sensible, smart, safe. If you can imagine me being smart. Thought I'd stand up for a change. Hey, I don't know, just something different. But maybe I won't talk as long if I'm standing. Maybe I'll get tired and tell y'all to go away. Not likely. When I was teaching, I stood all day long for the most part, rarely sat down, and I don't know. Guess I'm just too stupid to rest. Don't mind standing. What was I going to talk about? But yeah, anyway, the Waffle House thing's terrible. It seems like, I don't know if our gun rights are more in jeopardy now because of crazy people than anything else. Of course, we would, many of us would say the gun banners are a little crazy, but these really crazy people, and you know the specifics probably of the Waffle House shooter, the guy in Canada driving over all those people. As you get more background from these people, the last several of these shooters, they're not just the Parkland guy. They're not like violent people necessarily, just waiting for a chance to hurt people. They go way beyond that. They're just really. You think I'm crazy? Your neighbors or relatives might think you're a little crazy. These people are really crazy, you know. So I don't know. It's looking more and more like we are going to have to spend more money on mental health, I guess. Facilities. I don't know. It may get a little more intrusive in that regard, and I'm okay with a little bit more intrusiveness into people's lives who are truly insane. You know, even if it were me, like if I started to lose it, do you want me having all my guns and ammunition and, you know, an ability to shoot? Do you want me to be like some of these people? You know, you want me to be at large is what I'm saying, a free man? I mean, you know, we really do need to take care of our society. The problem, of course, is who decides who's crazy? You know, because, you know, all of us do some things that are a little bit silly and crazy. But, you know, we've witnessed some folks who are certifiable, or they need to be certified as crazy, don't they? And they need to be watched. And they really don't need to be buying guns. If there's any sensible way we can keep it out of their hands without restricting your rights and my rights. That's the problem, right? So we've talked about that a lot. So anyway, yeah, we talked about the rally. John and I did quite a bit in the last thing about this Confederate flag and all that. I'm not going to rehash all that, but I appreciate all the messages from you guys. And even the folks that don't agree. Anytime you get into something like that, people are going to hear what they want to hear, and they're not going to agree too sometimes, so that's okay. I think, as I can tell from most of your messages and your comments, most of you totally understand that a Second Amendment rally needs to be about Second Amendment rights and not everything else under the sun, not about pro-choice, pro-life, or anything like that, or flags and all that sort of thing. It just muddies the water, and I knew you'd all would see that, but still, there's people who just hear, oh my God, he's saying something negative about my issue or whatever it is. Well, I'm really not. I just don't want it at a Second Amendment rally. I think it's better if it's not at a Second Amendment rally. I kind of think that, from reading everybody's comments and the messages I've gotten, a lot of intelligent remarks. I'm not changing my position, really. I still would like to see a big rally. I just think it'd be great. But the more I think about it and the more I read your all's comments about it, it really is true. I feel better about it, really. I don't think it's not a desperate thing. We don't need a gigantic Second Amendment rally to preserve our rights. We really don't. I think what it is, I would like to see one. That's what it is. I'd like to see one. I'd like to see ourselves represented well. That's what's always in the back of my mind. I have this fantasy of whether it's in Washington or Cincinnati or Chicago, wherever it is. I have this fantasy of about 1 million of us or 2 million of us in the streets at a rally, representing ourselves sensibly, without a bunch of other stupid or extraneous, topics and flags or signs that are getting at everything under the sun. It's strictly about the Second Amendment and really good news coverage, wall to wall for a day or two, about here are the people who own firearms and are concerned about the Second Amendment. And look at all of them. I guess that's just my fantasy. I'd like to see it. It doesn't have to be a fantasy. It could come to fruition. But I always have that in the back of my mind because I know we're out here. There's enough of us out here to do it. And I guess it just may never happen. It really, as many of you have pointed out, and I'm not going to give up on it. I mean, and I can't run the thing. I'm just saying, it probably didn't have to happen, but it would be nice. That's kind of the where it is. It would just be so nice, wouldn't it? It'd be cool. It really counts where we vote, that we vote, and that we're working in the local elections, and we're always voting and making sure that we're keeping up with any situation, any bill locally, nationally, statewide that's restricting our rights, and we're letting reps know about that. You know, that's what it really comes down to. You know, many of you are so correct, and I know that. You know, but it still would be cool, wouldn't it, to have a rally like that? It bothers all of us, I think, to see the other side, you know, gathering by the hundreds of thousands, you know, in Washington or wherever it is, and it's just, I guess, just the media side of it bothers us and me as much as anything. But anyway, speaking of that, I'll get off that topic. We've hashed that over quite a bit. I want to make sure I let you know before I go too long, and for some of you go to sleep, or you just Hickok and talk forever. I'm going to go back and watch some more reruns of the Three Stooges. I guess they would be reruns, wouldn't they? But I just got every meet and greet kind of cemented in concrete, I hope, that we're going to have and hold at the NRA rally in Dallas. So if you're going to the NRA meeting in Dallas, which is coming up in a couple of weeks, we will be there in 3 different places that you can nail us down. You might just see us wandering around looking stupid. Yeah, that's always right. That's always the case. But we'll be at the, so I remember it, we'll be at the SDI, the Sonoran Desert Institute booth on Friday at 11 o'clock, from 11 to 12. Okay. And then we will be at the Buds NRA FFF, the Firearms for Freedom booth. It'll look more like, I don't know, it depends on how it's set up. It'll look more like, maybe you'll see the NRA Firearms for Freedom before you see anything about Buds, or you'll see Buds and all that. I forget the signage on that, but it's not a gigantic booth, but it's, we've talked about that before. Hey, if you have a firearm that you want to donate, or if someone's passed away, not sure what to do with firearms, you know, there's a program, the Firearms for Freedom Foundation, part of the NRA, that Cliff Burgess runs and has for quite a while. And so you donate those, and they're auctioned off, and all that goes to the NRA and for the legislative battles and all that kind of thing. So, and then the Buds auctions those off for them, helps manage all that for them, so they have a relationship there, which is kind of cool. I think that just started a couple, 3 years ago. But so we're going to be at their booth at 2 o'clock on Friday, okay, from 2 to 3. 2 to 3. So at 11 o'clock, 11 to 12 at SDI, and then from 2 to 3 at the NRA Buds booth there. And then not the big NRA booth, the NRA Firearms for Freedom booth, which is usually separate, okay, and a part of Buds. And then on Saturday at noon at the Federal booth. Okay, I always feel funny calling these things a booth. They're as big as these woods, you know, some of them are. And so anyway, hope to see you there, okay? Be sure and mark those down. I'll put them in the description. Maybe by tonight I'll go through and there's a way to do that if you didn't know that. Even though we have 1,600 videos, you can modify all your descriptions. You can add something to all of them, or modify a chunk of it, whatever you want to do, and that's what I do. And so I'll get that done. It'll be in there, okay? And I don't know, we may do a little quick update video before we leave or something, you know, but to remind you, but it will be there. It's easy reference, okay? If I misspoke today, I gave you a wrong time or something, you want to verify that, okay, in the descriptions. But we'll be there, and I hope many of you are, as I have told you guys for years, not 6, 8 years probably. It's just the greatest gun show on the planet, all right? I mean, even if you're an NRA hater, it would be worth going and signing up and going in, and just for that show. You consider it the cost of the show, and then you can go back home and continue hating on the NRA, but at least you got to see the great gun show, right? I mean, it's wonderful to see. It's like SHOT Show almost, and you get to see all the major manufacturers and handle everything they make. That's what's cool about it. As I've discussed before, they take the firing pins out of everything. So it's a little weird because you're I still am not going to be pointing any of them at anybody, but you can just pick them up off the wall, brand new Colt single action or 1911, whatever it is, work the slide, pull the trigger all you want to. I don't know what they do with them. They take them back and I guess look them over. They know they're going to get worn to some extent, not worn out maybe, but you don't have to baby them. You can look at them, snap the trigger, and just everything about it. It's a great event because all the manufacturers are there. Okay, under one roof, and you can prowl around. So I always enjoy it. I look forward to it. I always look forward to that. And hope to see you there. And be sure you say hi if you see us walking around, whatever we're doing. You guys come first. It doesn't matter. I've told you this many times, whether I'm in a restaurant or wherever, you all are the reason that we shoot for a living. Okay, and the reason I'm standing in the woods talking to you right now, instead of going to some other, well, I probably wouldn't be going to some boring job. Okay, I've never done that. I've taken jobs that I thought were halfway interesting. I love teaching, but I'd be doing something different. Maybe I'd just be retired sitting on a porch. One day I'll get to do that maybe. Right now I'm having fun though. And we hope to see you there. Just wanted to mention that. Okay. What else? Oh yeah. Let me show you my Gatlinburg slides. That's the old joke, about boring somebody with your vacation. But I've mentioned it. I posted some pictures. Had a great time out west. This was just my wife and I took off. Got John to watch the animals and the compound and everything. And we just took off, went up through Omaha, across South Dakota. I had never been through there. As many times as I've driven out west and even flown out west in different areas, I had never been up into the Dakotas, or I don't think even Wyoming, maybe it's a southern piece or something, and had flown into Salt Lake City and some places like that, but just haven't driven through that part of the country, and was looking forward to that. So we drove across southern South Dakota. Almost sounded redundant, but long drive to get up there into Omaha and on up to Rapid City. No, that's over in western South Dakota. Oh, I know, it's on the tip of my tongue. Is it Sioux Falls? There, came back to me. Okay, Sioux Falls. Got up to there and then headed west. And that long drive across South Dakota was interesting. Interesting terrain, and kind of enjoyed even that drive. Wall Drugs ought to advertise a little bit more. If you've ever been through there, you know what I'm talking about. Stopped at Wall Drugs. And then on into, Rapid City and the Black Hills. Went to, I had to buy a couple of boxes of Black Hills ammo while I was in the Black Hills, right? Sorry, Federal. But, they're located there. And I understand they're not set up to meet and greet, or anything. So I didn't stop by and bother them at their plants or anything. But there's a little gun shop not far from there. We're actually right around the corner, I think, almost. And what was that place called? Right on the interstate, almost. You can see it right off the interstate. Don't recall, but nice guy, and had a range indoors, and had a lot of choices of the ammo, and I bought a couple of boxes. And so I went to Mount Rushmore there, and didn't get the Crazy Horse. Should have. Do that next time. And it was interesting. We went to Mount Rushmore in the it was about, wasn't this time of day? I guess it was. It was about 3, 4, 5 o'clock. And we were going to check it out. I mean, how long does it take to see Mount Rushmore? Take some pictures and talk to the heads up there. And we drove up in there and then we're watching for it, never did see it. It was real foggy. And we went up to the little entrance to the park and talked to the person at the gate there, agent, and the park ranger, trying to say. And we were concerned we might not be able to see it very well. So if we had to pay to get in or get a ticket for tomorrow, whatever. So, because we were going to see that and then move on maybe up to Deadwood. Yep. Deadwood, great place. And so anyway, we asked the park ranger, said, we want to go up in the park here and see it. Said, are we going to be able to see it? She said, if you haven't seen it yet, no, you won't be able to see it, because it was just right there looming. We would have been able to see it just coming up the hill, the mountain. So anyway, we couldn't see it. I couldn't see the mountain. There's that much fog, and so we went back. We stayed there, and whatever, about 7 miles, backtracked and got a room and stayed there, and went back the next morning, saw the Mount Rushmore. And it's there, it's real. That was amazing, because I've seen it in geography books and everything else since I was in the first grade. And I've always suspected it doesn't really exist. But it did. There it was. Hadn't changed. None of it had moved. It looked just like the pictures. That's what surprised me. It looked just like the pictures. Can you believe that? So pretty, and ran into one of you and your wife there at the Mount Rushmore that morning. Good to chat with you. I forgot where you were from. You were from like New Jersey, somewhere in the east, and you're moving back from Oregon or something. Yeah, Oregon. Yeah, you'd come from Oregon and we're going back east or something. But anyway, good to talk to you. Ran into people at some of you just about everywhere we went. Deadwood. We went from there to Deadwood up through the Black Hills. Really neat drive. There was some snow on, and it was just gorgeous driving up through there. And if you ever get a chance, if you've not been there, you need to make that trip. Hopefully you saw the pictures I posted on Facebook. I took a few snapshots. But in Deadwood was cool. Went into downtown there. We ate a bite and went up to the graveyard and saw Hickok's grave, of course. Had to pay tribute. You saw the picture I took there. And Calamity Jane, they're buried there together. Seth Bullock was up on the hill. I didn't get to see him. I mean, the snow there was on that hill was deep, and I put my boots on, so I got to Hickok's grave okay, but I wasn't going up onto the top and flounder around trying to find anything else. But that was pretty cool. I always wanted to get by there. Went to what was the number 10 saloon. The location, is still there, of course, but it was not open, and it's something else now or whatever it was. But I saw where he made the mistake of sitting with his back to the door, holding aces and eights. And that's where the phrase, the dead man's hand, comes from, as most of you already know. So that was pretty cool. We went, let's see, from there, we went on up to Devil's Tower. You saw that picture, maybe, the little FAQ we did there. And I didn't realize it was behind me. You believe that, don't you? I think you might see an FAQ coming up at Mount Rushmore, too. And I didn't know those guys were looking over my shoulder either. But that was pretty neat, Devil's Tower. It's out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, you got to do some driving out there. That's the thing. If you're going to take a trip out west, you're going to drive. I highly recommend you drive, or at least fly in somewhere and rent a car and do a lot of driving. Hopefully you like driving, because it really enhances the entire experience. In the 80s, I flew out there at various points, and it was interesting to see it, from the 30,000 feet and everything, and then land in Salt Lake City or Phoenix and be in those places. But until you drive out there, you just don't get the real experience of it. I'm sorry, you don't. 'Cause I've done both. Anyway, where was I? We were at Devil's Tower. From there, we went on up into Montana and saw the Little Bighorn, the battlefield there, and across part of Montana. Most of Yellowstone was closed, so we just decided it wasn't worth seeing a little piece of it, and we headed back down through Cody, Wyoming, to the Cody Museum, Cody Firearms Museum, which is great. It's great. You want to go there sometime if you can. I don't know that it was, in some ways I was expecting more, but what is more? Those things are massive, and have everything represented there. But I've been to the NRA museum in Fairfax, in Virginia, a couple of years ago, and then I've been to some really nice gun shows, antique gun shows in my life. I've been fortunate, just going to Tulsa is a pretty amazing place with what you see there. And what else? Oh yeah, and the one in Las Vegas that's always held around SHOT Show time. That antique gun show. So some of those, if you've been to some of those, you've seen a lot of the original firearms that are actually in those museums, of course, and they're lying there for sale. It's amazing. but still it's worth a trip. And Cody's neat, you know, beautiful area through Wyoming. You know, we drove down from there down through Casper, Laramie, and we came back across through. No, we didn't come through Kansas. We came back through parts of drawing a blank, Colorado, yeah, and Nebraska, but it was a great trip. You know, just seeing those places that they're hard to get to. Yeah, they're just not easy to get to. I would put those places on a bucket list if you have a bucket list, and I recommend if you can carve out a couple of weeks sometime. You know, maybe it's 5 years from now. It takes you 5 years to save up the money and the vacation time, you know, whatever it is, and just plan a trip like that. You know, plan one every couple of years if you can. I thoroughly enjoy it. I really do. You know, we do a lot of driving. I don't really like to fly. I did a lot of that in the 80s, and you know, when you're 6'8", flying's not as much fun anyway. But it's well worth it. It's a lovely thing to do. It really is. And seeing firearms while you're on the trip is just an added bonus. Let me check the time. Don't go too long here now. Had to go out and buy a new phone this week. My grandson and I fumbled the one out of my pocket, hit the concrete. But such is life. I didn't blame it on him. It was my fault. It was my fault. It really was. So what else did anything on the trip? Well, we ran into a lot of you, like I said, and you know, downtown Deadwood and restaurants and various places. And it's always good to see you. Like I said before, say hi or I'll be mad. Don't ever. I know sometimes if it's you know, some kind of event or something, and we're talking with 4, 5, 6 different people, and you got to move on. I know how that gets, but if you see me in a restaurant or somewhere or pumping gas, that happens quite often. You know, I mean, don't hesitate to say hi. You know, it's not you're not bothering me. You're not bothering me. I mean, if we were real celebrities or something, and we couldn't walk out of the house, and people were just always, you know. I guess you get to the point where you just hit out or something, where you get to where it bothers you. And probably some people would be bothered even at our level, you know, as a little minor celebrity or whatever you want to call it, public figure, whatever. But I am just so appreciative that I get to do what I do. How arrogant would it be of me to be bothered by somebody wanting to say hi? I mean, that would be the epitome of arrogance. You know, it just really would. So anyway, just wanted to mention that. So I always enjoy meeting you guys. We met a fellow and his wife in the downtown on the sidewalk in Deadwood soon after we got the car parked, and had a little chat with them. And yeah, shooters are just generally good folks. Just that simple, you know. And I don't even have an incident. We've met thousands of you all, I guess, in the last 10 years. You know, not even counting NRA meetings and things like that. I just, you know, no one even comes to mind that was obnoxious. I mean, nothing comes to my mind. I may not tell you or share with you if it did, but it doesn't come to mind. Yeah, maybe a few weird people. Yeah, man, me calling somebody weird, how's that? For the pot calling the kettle black. That wasn't racist, was it? No, I don't know. But anyway, it's an old phrase. But anyway, we had a great trip. I'll bring out the Gatlinburg slides and show them to you. So I'm going to keep this one shorter. You probably need less yakking from me. I probably should include something useful. What would it be about firearms? Well, let me share this one. I had to finally pick up. I didn't go to do it, but I was in a gun shop, and I decided after doing a video with this K6 Kimber. It's been a year at least ago, I guess, or more. It's been on my mind, and I just like it. You know that the little 3-inch Model 65 Smith & Wesson is one of my very favorite defensive firearms, period, not just revolver. If that's all I had, I would feel well armed. Yeah, great firearm. Man, I tell you, this thing comes very close to that. I mean, and I don't even have to shave off the hammer. And if the barrel were, I thought I wanted a 3-inch. You might have heard me in that video. I think I said I would really like this in a 3-inch. But you know, I picked up a 3-inch. when I looked at this one, they had every model. And I chose this one. They had some of the more deluxe models and different grips and a 3-inch barrel and all that. And that's what I asked to see first. I see that 3-inch K6. And you know, I don't know, it just didn't appeal to me as much as this little package. And these grips, now they're Crimson Trace, a little plug for them, I guess. I remember when we had that one last year. It went off on eGunner. It was a borrowed gun from Bud's. And it just fills my hand beautifully. I mean, the grips alone almost sell it. But, and everything you read about them, it's hard to find anybody knocking them. Well, I don't care if somebody knocks them. I'm talking about real experiences. The experiences you read about on forums and on YouTube, is YouTube a forum? I guess it is, of sorts. It tends to be pretty positive. There's not a lot of negative stuff. Kimber got it right on this crazy thing, and so I put my own money where my mouth is. We don't have any relationship with any gun company, especially Kimber. They'd probably like for us to do more of their guns, and we need to, actually. I think we've just done one Kimber aside from this, but anyway, I love a little revolver that works, and this is the only holster I had. I think I don't know if it's a J-frame. I think it's actually a K-frame holster. It's a little bit loose. I think it's a K-frame holster, so I need to find a holster I like, and a pocket holster even. Well, actually, I think I'm going to try to get one from Alabama Holster if they make one, because I tend to use their little Kydex holsters. And there's several companies that make good ones. Just happen to use those usually. Is it trying to rain on me again? Anyway, we appreciate you all watching. We don't thank you enough. We appreciate you supporting the people that help us. As I say, every now and then we remind folks that I guess it's usually trolls, people who don't know what language means. They don't know what some words mean. Well, I don't know what some words mean, but words like in the pocket or shield, all those stupid terms. Just again a reminder. We really cherish our independence, and we don't review anything. Well, guns, the only thing we review, if you want to call us a reviewer, but we review guns, so we make certain that we don't ever get involved with a gun company. In fact, as I've said, we've decided we're not going to take firearms from gun companies. It's kept us from getting a few guns lately, but that's okay. If we want one, we'll get one somehow. We're not even going that route, which in some cases made sense, but we're staying away from that, and but anybody gives us help that we get help from are entities that we don't review. We don't review gun rights organizations. I belong to all of them. We don't review gun shops. We don't review gunsmithing, distance learning schools. Who else helps us? We don't review ammo. We don't review gun safes. Anybody that helps us out, it's got to be something we don't review. Or if we ever decided to accept help from somebody, and it is something we kind of review, we would quit reviewing it. I don't know what that would be. We mainly, focus on guns. So anyway, just a reminder about that for new people, because there's a lot of you. I forget that. I mean, there's really between 2,000 and 3,000 usually, especially through these winter months and even now. New subscribers every day, every freaking day. It's just so it's like building another almost substantial little channel every week, and with none of those people maybe yet fully understanding how we operate. And as I've said before, I attribute some troll comments or hateful comments to those people, just mainly out of ignorance. It's not an insult. It's just they just don't know yet how we operate. They don't know us yet. Now, once they get to know us, then they'll have lots of reason to hate us, won't they? I tell you, it's one thing you learn. I've always known it, I guess, or for a long time. But I've had a few experiences in the public eye, small ones, when I played basketball. And then I was involved in some computer stuff and education. I had kind of the spotlights on me for a little bit. But I've had a little bit of experience with this sort of thing. It's just been not as big as this, of course. You're just going to have people who don't understand what you do, You're going to have people who do understand what you do and don't like it. People who are just envious of what you do, and they definitely don't like it. They're immature, low self-esteem, so they're going to look for opportunities to hate on you. There's even fairly mature people, like as I've said many times, I know various places, I would be envious of me, really. I mean, not that I'm that great or anything. My life is not perfect, like yours is not, right? But I would be envious of anybody. If we could back up 10 years, 15 years, and I'm watching some goofball on the internet, and he's obviously getting to shoot almost anything he wants to shoot. He's got his own shooting range out his back door, side door. And he seems to get free ammo. He's got support from gun company, or from gun shop, helping him and that kind of stuff. And he seems to be able to shoot for a living. My gosh, where's my computer? I got to come up with some hateful comments. I got to find something wrong with that guy. I got to let him know how ugly he is, or how he touched that gun wrong. I got to find something. I got to tear that dude down. I mean, there really are people that are, those wouldn't be the most mature people, I guess, but they would, it would be tempting. That's what I'm getting at, okay? So I understand that. And because there are so many of y'all, as I've said, you could do exactly what we're doing. You could do it. We kind of got started early. That helped a lot, right? But you could be me. How's that for a scary thought? Thousands, tens of thousands of you out there could be me. How do I get off on these topics? But you really could. And all you needed was a shooting range, a camera, and just start doing it. Get comfortable in front of the camera. You could have done the same thing. How many tens of thousands of you have thought that? Be honest. Millions of you. You have thought that. That has entered your mind. And because there's really nothing that special about John and me. There's really not, So anyway, but we were stupid enough to launch into it and do it, and we enjoy doing it. So all I have is a passion for firearms in my hobby, and I've been doing it for a long, long time, and I've shot for a long, long time. I've competed in 6 or 7 different types of competitions, and not that skill has really much to do with what we do, right? It's nice to be able to shoot and hit something when you shoot at it. That's not even an important ingredient, really, that important. So many people could do this. They just, maybe you were not quite a big enough gun nut, is what it comes down to. Yeah, really? You were probably studying your trigonometry lessons while I was thinking about firearms. You were probably doing your homework back when I was out on the farm, when I was, 16. I was that afternoon out with my .22 rifle plinking. You were home writing that essay and doing a better job than I was, probably, because I was wasting my time. It was my misspent youth and my misspent young adulthood that helped lead to it, okay? So anyway, we understand. So here I am standing out in the rain talking to a camera. You could have been doing this. You could have been looking really intelligent, standing in the woods, talking to a camera while it rains on you, right? So anyway, I probably said something stupid there. That's okay. I don't know. With all the hours I've got talking to a camera, there's got to be some dumb things I've said, and I've probably misspoken and said some stupid things. But anyway, we appreciate you before I get too wet and look even stupider than I am. Appreciate you all, your support. Hope to see a lot of you at the NRA meeting. And again, to compliment you all, there is nothing that slick about what we do. We don't edit stuff up just like this. It's just stream of consciousness. Not that, that many hundreds of thousands of people watch the Shooting the Breezes, but, in our videos, they're rarely ever edited. We don't worry about making them extra slick or anything. And yet so many of you, you come and watch the things. We've never tried to create a cult or any kind of thing, a cult following, that's just the furthest thing from our mind. We're just, I'm not your guru, as you know, and I've never pretended to be. How'd I get off on all this? But, we just do what we like to do, and we really enjoy doing it. I've always enjoyed shooting. It's fun bringing it to you all. And I mean, it sounds like I'm going to quit here or something, but no, I mean, we're going to continue because I enjoy bringing it to you all and doing this. Being nothing special. It's just fun shooting and showing you guys firearms that maybe you haven't seen before or that you're contemplating the purchase of. You know, it's because it's interesting to me. Some people would think this is boring. I've seen a few comments over the years where someone would say something like, don't you have another life? Is that all you ever think about? Well, yeah, I have another life, but I enjoy firearms. And it never really gets boring uncovering another firearm, a new firearm that somebody releases. We did, was it the Mossberg Patriot? I guess there a week or two ago. You'll see it soon in 270 caliber, not a year. And, you know, I other than maybe a friend's rifle one time, I'd never really shot a 270, you know, much, or if at all. I couldn't remember, to tell you the truth. And, you know, yeah, so it's always interesting to try a new caliber, a new cartridge, a different rifle, and, you know, see what I think about it for myself, okay? And then for you all too, and to share it with you. So it's a really cool endeavor, and we just enjoy the heck out of doing it. And it's just wonderful that enough of y'all come and watch that it enables us to do it for a living. That's what it amounts to. So we're going to keep doing it. We'll be here on YouTube, or I don't think we're going to have trouble with YouTube. I don't know. We think we follow the guidelines pretty well. And if not, we'll be somewhere else. Or we might be in 2 or 3 different places. Okay, so we'll always keep you apprised of where we are and what's going on. So we can do that either here or on Facebook, Instagram. Got my Instagram back up. I forgot the password I was using or something. I couldn't get back in for several weeks, and I don't use it as much as I should. I'm not a social media, nut. I mean, that's probably pretty easy to believe at my age, but I've been into computers a long time. Back when your parents or your grandparents, if they were my age, were not. They were afraid of them, and I was buying them and using them. You know, so it's not like I'm some goofball anti-technology person. It's just I always have used it for practical reasons, really. I never was a programmer. I just saw the value in being able to use a spreadsheet, you know, a database, and then, of course, word processing, even back in the early 80s, 81. So but anyway, I'm not like, oh my gosh. There's probably 4 or 5 fairly popular social media sites that I don't use. You know, Instagram occasionally, and, you know, Facebook seems to be, even though a lot of us hate it, right? It seems to be, I don't know. I can do it on the computer, and I can post a picture or a bunch of pictures real easily. I can type something. I can link to for videos or whatever I want to link to, and or some news item, which I kind of get in trouble with sometimes, but something that's interesting. It just seems simple to do it there. And plus, we've got, I think, about 600,000 followers there. I don't know. It's over 500,000, whatever it is. So a lot of you do follow us there. You know, a lot of you don't like Facebook. I don't love it either. My personal Facebook, I haven't gone to it in probably 3 or 4 weeks. I mean, that tells you. We just use it kind of as part of this project to stay in touch with you all. You know, I don't go around, oh, I had for breakfast 3 eggs this morning. You know, you can probably imagine I'm not that sort of social media guy. And so we use it mainly as ways to keep you all informed and that kind of thing. So I use Instagram, you know, and Twitter. I keep meaning to I should remind people of this all the time. We have the Twitter, Hickok45, and everything I post on Facebook goes automatically to Twitter. And I think I need to set it up. I haven't done that yet. I looked into it, couldn't figure out how. Everything I put on Instagram should go to Facebook, I guess. Does Facebook own Instagram? And some people do that. Excuse me. But my point there is, I never go to Twitter, though. I never do. And I hear people, you know, in the news about the Twitter wars and the comments or messages. I got a Twitter message or this, reply to them. I never go there, so I don't know. One of these days I'll go in there, I guess, and people have been probably replying to me. There's probably hateful stuff there. You know, trolls have been trolling me there and hating on me there. I don't know. I never have used it to actually communicate with people back and forth, other than just a blanket posting of a video or a link or something. Whatever I do in Facebook goes there. So I mean, I just can't be everywhere, right? If I go everywhere on social media, I can't enjoy my woods. Yeah, it's actually a lot of it, to tell you the truth, because I love it here. I love the trees, and I love being able to shoot and go hiking, get on my mountain bike, ride around the place, or my tractor. That's really my priority, in a lot of ways. So I'm not going to sit on social media for 10 hours a day. I can handle 3 or 4 hours a day to kind of keep up with you all, but that's about it. I got off on a lot of different things I didn't mean to get into. I guess it's something to do with standing in the woods, talking to a camera, a friendly camera, right? So anyway, glad you guys are here. You came to the woods today. We value you all more than you know. Hope to see you on the circuit out there, which is going to be the big circuit coming up, of course, is in Dallas. And we'll be there Friday, Saturday, and part of Sunday. And milling around, and then with 3 places that we're going to be specifically. Okay, so check the descriptions, and if you're there, hope to see you. Come by and say hi while you're looking at firearms. Okay, what else about the NRA? Just, man, or the meeting. Get ready to enjoy it. If you haven't been to one, I know there's probably a lot of you going for the first time. You will enjoy it. It's that simple. Big crowd, but you will enjoy it. But I mean, how could you not? The biggest gun show out there, and it wouldn't matter if it's put on by the NRA or the XRA or whatever organization you can imagine. Anybody could put on something that large. It's just a great gun show. It really is. So I'm going, and I'm going to enjoy it. Have a great time. Okay, so hope to see you there or somewhere else. I will see you on the YouTube. Okay, that there thing called YouTube. I'm sure I'll see you there. All right, so appreciate you. Life is good. Oh, wait a minute. No, life is not good yet. I'm going to save myself some editing here, okay? Pretend I didn't say that yet. What did I do with the remote? There it is. There it is. Okay. So pretend I'm still talking. I've done this beforehand. So yeah, hope to see y'all, at the NRA meeting if you live anywhere close. Even if you don't, it's worth a drive. Man, I drive 8 hours or 9 hours to Tulsa for a gun show. I'm pretty sick. If I lived, knowing what I know about these great gun shows at the NRA meeting, and of course there's a lot of stuff that goes on besides the gun show, but that's what I think most of us think of it. I'm not really active in terms of going to a lot of the meetings and that sort of thing. I should be more active probably, but so it's called the NRA meeting, but I used to call it the NRA convention, or some people call it the NRA gun show, I think, and that's what a lot of people think of it as more than anything. So if you're within 5 hours or something, or 4, you could get up really early and drive down there or up there or out there, and enjoy it for the day, and then drive back home even and get home late. You would probably think it was worth it. So I'm not here recruiting for that show, but it's a good one. And I know people that I talk to people, of course, at the exhibits every year, and people that it's their first time. It's like, wow. Especially if you've never worked for a company. Like, I've been with several companies when I was in publishing back in the day. You have various things like the American Booksellers Association meeting or library, so just different things where the biggest companies, when you had exhibits, they would be like that, like you'd see at the NRA meeting or SHOT Show. And so I've been to a lot of events like that. And so it's especially neat to go to one where it's the gun companies that have the giant booths in all of their guns, instead of if you're in the hardware industry, and you work in the hardware world and you go to a big meeting like that, and you got Ace Hardware, it's got their Home Depot, whoever it is, they got the booth as big as these woods and all their hardware displayed. Well, that's cool too, that's the industry you're working in. But if you're a gun nut, it's pretty neat to go into a huge convention center and it's Ruger. You look there and see a Ruger, you see Winchester, you see Federal, Remington, you see all these gigantic booths in there going to the ceiling almost. It's pretty cool. That reminded me when I was saying that of I was at I don't know, some meeting at the Opera Lane Hotel back in the day, and they were having, it was the American Cemetery Association or something like that. And I actually had, I got to see this, and I was able to walk in without a tag. You know, they weren't checking very closely, and I can't resist. I had a suit on, I think. I was there for some other meeting, and so I just strolled through there. And that was pretty interesting. Same kind of deal, except it was coffins and things like that. So depends on your taste. You know, I'd rather go to a gun meeting, to tell you the truth. So now pretend you don't see me with a remote in my hand, okay? You don't see it. I'm just talking to you, and I'm just going to say that it's been good to talk to you, because life is good.